How to get scholarships is a common question that students ask themselves. High school students, they ask themselves the question when they're thinking about their bachelor program. Bachelor students, they ask themselves the question when they're thinking about their master's program. Master students, they ask themselves the question when they're thinking about their PhD program. And PhD students ask themselves the question when they're thinking about their postdoc programs. Why is that the case? That is because tuition fee, especially if you're going to study in a foreign country, is extremely expensive. So you always have to think about, is there any funding that I can avail in order to lower the cost of my tuition, the cost of my staying in that foreign country? So if you are a student thinking about getting scholarships, make sure you watch this video right through till the end. So the first thing that you have to do when you want to get a scholarship is searching for the scholarships. Where do you search for the scholarships? That is like the first question, the most fundamental thing that you have to think about. Where do you search for these scholarships? What websites publish scholarships? Especially for students from your country, in your part of the world. What are the common websites that are there? If you all want me to do a video about various websites that offer scholarships, drop a comment in the comment section and tell me that yes, let me do the video, such that I'm going to go ahead and do some research and publish that out to you all. So just drop a comment and I'm going to do that. Alright, getting back to the video. So let's talk about the websites. There are tons of websites that provide scholarships for students. So you have to know the names of these websites, and if possible, you should know when they have their posts, like when are their posts scheduled. Do they post brand new scholarships every day? Do they post them once a week? Do they post them once in 2 weeks or once a month? You need to know this schedule, because what that does is that you stay on top of things when it comes to brand new scholarships. And I'm going to tell you how this links to the second point here. So when you know this information, when you have this schedule, your job is now just to check constantly. Is there a brand new scholarship? Is there a brand new scholarship? On the website Learn How to Get a Scholarship.com, I actually have 2 newsletters. So there's a newsletter on Substack that you can subscribe to it. If you subscribe to it, you're going to get daily information about various scholarships that are available. So feel free to go sign up on Substack, or you can just sign up. You can just sign up to the newsletter of the website Learn How to Get a Scholarship.com. And you're also going to be informed about brand new scholarships that are posted almost every day. Now back to back, but like almost every day, you are going to be informed about them. So that is the first thing that you need to make sure that you do. Where to search for the scholarships and what websites post the scholarships, and also the days when these are posted, such that you do not miss any scholarship. All right, now let us go to point 2. The second thing is the deadline. Going back to point 1, the reason why it is important that you know when these scholarships are posted is that when you are informed about a scholarship early enough and you know the deadline when that scholarship is going to close, you can come up with an application timeline, right? Let's say this is February 2022 and the deadline for this scholarship is June 2022. So you can now come up with a timeline where you're like, oh, right, I'm going to get this in this month, I'll get this in this month, I'll get this in this month, I'll get this in this month. And by the deadline, I am ready to submit my application. And this is extremely important when you have this particular timeline, because you know that scholarship providers, everyone who provides scholarship, if they say that the deadline is June 5th at 12 noon, they are not going to change it. It doesn't matter what, they are not going to change it. So it's always extremely important that you get the information about the scholarship as soon as it is released, because when you get it as soon as it is released, you can have some time to get ready to apply for the scholarship. If, let's say, this scholarship was posted in February of 2022 and you have no idea, you hear about the deadline. Remember, the deadline we are working with here is June 2022, right? And you hear about this scholarship in like May. This is May, June. So you have just 1 month to get everything ready to apply for the scholarship. And what that does to you is that you start rushing. And when you are rushing to submit your things, you do not put everything together. You do not take time to write your essays properly. You do not take time to get your recommendation letters from the required professors and everything. And because you're rushing through the process, the quality of your application is going to be lower. And you know that in the world of scholarships, how do you get scholarships? It is a game of inches. Let's say that you have a 3.7 GPA and then your essay is not that good, and then there is someone else, another applicant for that scholarship, who has a 3.6 GPA, but their essay is amazing. The chance that they may get the scholarship above you is extremely high. So the good thing about staying in touch with websites that publish brand new scholarships and checking them back to back daily is that when they publish a scholarship and you hear the information as early as possible, you can come up with you can have more time to come up with an application plan. Walk through that entire timeline, and as you walk through that entire timeline, you can submit, you can get all your documents ready in time, and then when it is the deadline for the scholarship, just a week before the deadline, you're not rushing, you know everything is ready, you can now submit your application. So it's extremely important that you all pay attention to the application timeline and make sure that you do not miss any deadline, okay? And then the third thing that you have to pay attention to is the eligibility criteria. When we spoke about point 2, I was telling you all about someone who has a 3.7 GPA and the essay is not that good, and then there is someone who has a 3.6 GPA and their essay is really good, right? Sometimes this is because all scholarships have their eligibility criteria. You need to check with whatever scholarship that you're applying for, what is their eligibility criteria. That is because that is like the first thing that they are going to use to determine if you can even apply for the scholarship or not. The fact that a scholarship is there doesn't mean that you can apply for it. So your job is to, number one, check the deadline. 2, check the eligibility criteria. Look through all of it. What is the scholarship provider looking for? And score yourself. Do you match with what they want? If they want a 3.5 GPA, do you have a 3.5 GPA? If they want a 2.6 score of SATs or whatever, do you have it? So you always have to look at TOEFL, all of this exams that they always ask. You need to look through all the eligibility criteria and then you assess yourself. Are you good enough to apply for that scholarship? Okay, so that is the second thing that you have to do, and make sure that you do not miss this step. And then the fourth thing that you have to do is look through your application documents. All scholarships request for documents to apply for it. Sometimes it's recommendation letters, your transcripts, your CV, so many things. Sometimes you have to collect documents from left and right, from some professors and everything. It is always extremely important that you look for all the documents that are required. And saying to that, I will always advise students, come up with an application checklist where you list all these documents, and then when you are getting all of them ready, you say, okay, statement of purpose, check, transcripts, check, recommendation letters. Most times recommendation letters are always like 2 or 3 that they ask for. Recommendation letter 1, check. Recommendation letter 2, check. Because sometimes they ask you recommendation letter from a professor, and a recommendation letter from someone you have worked with, someone who knows you in different capacities, who can assess your character in different situations. Sometimes that is the case. So recommendation letter 1, check. Recommendation letter 2, check. You know that you're stacking up all the documents that they are required for this particular scholarship that you are applying for, okay? So it's extremely important that you figure out all the documents that are required, put them together, come up with an application checklist, and as you're checking in, you're submitting, checking in, you're submitting. And that leads me to the 5th point, which is apply for the scholarship. There are different procedures to apply for scholarships. If you go through, let's say you're applying for scholarships in the UK, they have the UCAS system. And sometimes if you're going to apply to the university first, they have the UCAS system. And in there, you have to upload like the digital version of all of these documents that we have spoken on in point 4, right? So now your job is to scan all of these documents. So you have to go scan them and get the the soft copies of all of them. And when you get now into the portal, then you put your as you're applying from step 1, step 2, at some point they'll require you to upload all those documents. Then you have them maybe in a USB drive, and then you upload all those documents as they are requested. Okay. And also sometimes if you're applying for universities in the UK, they have the UCAS system. If you're applying to Sweden, they also have like the another portal that you apply to. I think Finland. So many countries if you're applying to the US, they have the the common app or something. So many countries through scholarships and universities, they have like common application portals, as well as there are other scholarship providers that do not go through these common like these portals to do their applications for some. For example, scholarships like the Fulbright scholarship, the mixed scholarship, these are done, the Swiss government scholarship, they are done in partnership with embassies. So it is extremely important that you put these documents, hard copies together, you take it yourself to the embassy and you submit it there. Okay, so it can either be through a portal where they require the soft copies, or it can be through like a physical office where you submit the hard copies. So definitely do well to figure out which one it is, and then you're ready to submit. So I hope that this has helped you all, and when you do that, you know that you are on your way to getting scholarships. Okay, so I hope that this is helpful. You all make sure that you go through the process, search for the scholarships, make sure you're sure of the deadline of the scholarship, make sure you check the eligibility of the scholarship, gotta put all your documents together because it's important, and then you apply for it. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. I'm going to see you all in the next one. Cheers.